In the 1970s, several mysterious disappearances occurred in a small American town surrounded by dense forests. Locals began to whisper about a maniac who largely lived in the woods and haunted lonely travelers. This story has become a real nightmare for residents and has led many to avoid driving along the old highway that runs through the forest. The story began one dark autumn night when a group of friends, Tony, Johnny, Mike, and Lisa, decided to spend a weekend in nature. They rented a campsite away from the city, but to get there, they had to drive along this highway. Despite the warnings of the locals, the fans ignored the rumors and set off on their way. On the way, they turned on music and chatted happily, but soon noted that the road was getting narrower and more abandoned. Dense trees loomed over them, and the night sky was covered with clouds, as if foreshadowing trouble. Suddenly, their car stalled. Tony, who was driving, tried to restart the engine, but nothing worked. "Great," he muttered. "So what do we do now?" "Let's try to get the nearest village," Lisa suggested. "Maybe someone there can help us." The friends got out of the car and, walking along the car, began to worry. The birds around them seemed alive, and every rustle made them shudder. They had been walking for about half an hour when they suddenly heard a sound like footsteps behind them. When they turned around, they saw nothing, but the feeling of anxiety was growing. Finally, they saw a light that was flickering in the distance. It turned out to be an old-abandoned gas station. They got closer, and Tony, looking around, noticed that there was something strange inside. The old sign read "Open 24/7", but the doors were locked and the windows boarded up. Johnny, not waiting for someone to open the door, started knocking. "If there's someone inside, stop it!" she screamed. As if in response to her word, there was a crack, and a man approached them from the direction of the forest. He was wearing a dirty jacket, and his face was hidden under the hood. The friends froze in fear. "What are you doing here?" the stranger asked suddenly. His voice sounded hollow and threatening. "Our car broke down and we're looking for help," Tony replied, trying to sound confident. "You better get out of here," the stranger said, leaning closer. "It's not safe here." The friend's heart began to beat faster. They realized that this man was clearly not friendly. Suddenly, he turned around and, without saying a word, disappeared in the forest. The friends' hearts began to beat faster. They realized that this man was clearly not friendly. Suddenly, he turned around and, without saying a word, disappeared in the forest. The friends looked at each other and fear seized them. They decided that they couldn't stay in the place and had to get back to the car. On the way back, they heard footsteps again, but this time they were closer. Suddenly there was a sound like someone breaking branches. The friends started running without looking back and soon reached the car. They climbed inside and closed the doors. "What was that?" Jenny asked breathlessly. "I don't know," Mike replied, "but we need to get out of here." Tony tried to start the engine again, but the car only moaned softly. At that moment, they saw a silhouette appear in the headlights. It was the same stranger, but now he was holding something shiny in his hand. My friends realized that it was probably a knife. "Get him out!" Lisa screamed and they tried to open the door to get out. Suddenly, the stranger came closer and started tapping on the glass. He was furious and threatened them, shouting that they shouldn't have come here. The panicked friends started screaming and tried to call the police, but the phone didn't pick up the signal. At the moment, the stranger got even angrier and slammed on the glass. The glass cracked and the friends realized that they needed to act. Tony slammed on the gas and the car finally started. They jumped out of the place, leaving the stranger behind. The speed increased and soon they were on the highway where the lightning was bright and the road safer, but the fear did not leave them. They decided to return to the city and tell about their adventures. When they arrived in the city and told their story to the locals, they listened attentively. One of the old men said that this stranger was a famous maniac who had killed several people many years ago and that no one had caught him yet. Local residents want friends to never return the old highway again. The friends who survived the terrible night vowed never to forget the experience. They realized that sometimes, even in the search of adventure, it's better to follow your instinct and avoid dangerous places. Since then, they never touched the old highway again, and every time a car passed by, they felt a chill run down their backs, remembering the terrible evening.